Hello everyone, my name is Sam Pulia. I'm the village president of the village of Westchester. Welcome to Westchester's World. I have two very important guests with me this morning to talk about certainly the flooding episode that occurred in a number of communities around here, and certainly in Westchester and in parts adjacent to that on July 23rd and 24th. And here I'm welcoming my guest, David Ramos from the Cook County Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, and also Greg Eaton from FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. And I want to welcome both of you to our program. This program airs in the village of Westchester and any part that may see us on Channel 6. So I'm going to welcome both of you to the program.
Thank you.
Let's start out with Dave. I know, Dave, we've been in dire contact or emergency contact, since the early mornings of July 23rd,
yes.
2010 with our flood event. And let me start out by saying the village of Westchester and all of Cook County should be very appreciative of everything that the Cook County Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security has done for our region. And I know our region even stretches into the DuPage area, where
yes.
certainly you've had contact with those individuals as well and have been kind of the guiding light in this flood episode. So I know we contacted your agency rather early. You sent your representative David King out, and you got there a little bit later to certainly assess the situation that we had in Cook County. And I'm going to give you a little airtime here to tell us about the agency, kind of when it started, how did it start, and what is its mission at this point in time.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you very much for having me and my colleague and friend from FEMA. As you know, we all work together in Cook County. Cook County is made up of 134 municipalities and 30 townships with a population of 5.3 million residents, for the second largest county in the United States. Having said that, our department is responsible for emergencies that occur across Cook County. Everything begins locally and it ends locally, but it's when the local municipalities can no longer maintain or sustain the emergency is when they deplete their resources and call upon the county, in which case this happened back in July 23rd. I believe the village of Westchester was one of the first villages to call for resources as the severe rain and thunderstorms that was coming through from the night before just poured buckets of water in the town of Westchester. We received that notification. We partner with the National Weather Service, and the National Weather Service is very good in terms of providing us detailed information as how the storms are coming through. In our office, we also watch the Doppler radar. We keep track of all the barcodes and color codes that are on the screen. So we sent out a blast notice to all the local elected officials, emergency management coordinators, liaisons, the police chiefs and fire chiefs and highway department supervisors to prepare them for the inclement weather that's approaching. Our office, I think, started receiving the phone calls probably about 2 o'clock, I think, when most residents in Cook County started receiving the backup sewage in their home, is when we started getting ready with the sand and sandbags with our highway department. I send my representative, Bob King, he's my deputy director, and Bob's my right-hand guy, and I send him out to Westchester since he lives out in your area. So I said, Bob, get over there first. I'll go to the emergency operations centers, which of course I'm glad that we opened it up early that morning, because more and more resources were being requested as they started running low in various parts of Cook County.
Now, where is the actual disaster center at for Cook County? Where is that located?
Our emergency operations center is located downtown Chicago. We are currently in phase 1, where we're going to be opening up a second, which is going to be the South Emergency Operations Center, and that's going to be out in Oak Forest. Phase 2 would be Central Cook County. That would be somewhere out in LaGrange Park. We're going to be partnering up with our highway department, and that's going to be our central hub. We want to get out of downtown. Obviously, downtown is the hot zone, as we call it, even in the federal level. So we want to be able to get out of that area, since Chicago and within Cook County is a Tier 1 target. So it would be good for us to move out of the downtown area so that we can be away from the scene, and this way we can get all of our partners with the local, state, and federal level that can come in, and so we can start coordinating and collaborating with resources that need to go out to various parts of Cook County.
Now, at the 69 West Washington building, the Emergency Operations Center, is that staffed 24/7, or how is that managed, and about how many people are actually in the center to receive calls and then start the ball rolling, so to speak?
Well, our department just got started back in 2007 when it was transferred over to under the office of the president. So we have a minimum staff of approximately 30 employees, and we have a duty officer that's on call 24/7. So you can call our office anytime, 312-603-8180, and there's always someone answering the phone, and it's a live person.
Okay. Now, we've certainly had the flood event, and that's kind of the thrust of what our conversation is, but other things that the office does. It's not only for floods, it's for
any emergency. And actually, I have a preparedness booklet here that we have is how to prepare for disasters. And this is a booklet that we pass out, at various community events. Even some of the local municipalities will call and say, can you send us some booklets? We have everything in here from fires, tornadoes, windstorms, snowstorms, and of course heat-related emergencies, as well as severe cold weather emergencies. We have 30 townships in Cook County, as I mentioned earlier, and out of those 30 townships, we have what we call warming centers or cooling centers, so that when the weather starts changing, it gets really hot, or if it gets really cold, power outages occur, we can have a place where we can set up as a temporary shelter so that we can get Red Cross and Salvation Army, who also, I might add, play a significant role in all emergencies and disasters.
Well, that's great. It seems like we are very well prepared in Cook County.
Yes.
Certainly under the President's office of Todd Stroger. I know there's going to be some changes in November, certainly in that regard. Have you gotten the feeling that all the commissioners are very positive about your programs and things you have, and that this will continue in the positive way it's going to be?
Well, I certainly hope that this most recent disaster opens up the eyes of not only the county commissioners, but all elected officials to know that Cook County is prepared. We have Homeland Security funds that come in that we partner up with the City of Chicago, and we buy many equipment. We train all of our first responders. We use the facility up in Glenview for NIPSTA to train the first responders, and now we're doing elected officials, because we need the elected officials to understand how the incident command system with the National Incident Management System, the NIMS system, how it all coordinates and works together, and to organize and prepare for disasters.
Yeah, and I recently was a student at one of the NIMS classes, although with my police background, I've done a number of the NIMS classes pretty much online with being a police officer, and it was very well received from the elected officials. So I'm here to tell all my elected official friends out there, the trustees, the mayors, the managers, to make sure that they attend this class on NIMS, because it certainly gives you an overview of the preparation that's going to be needed at the Incident Command Center. And although we like to be the people riding in the boats and taking branches off of things like that, if you're so inclined like myself, and certainly my police and fire chief as well, but our jobs as mayors and managers is not necessarily not to be on the front line, but we certainly need to be in the decision-making phases as we talk to representatives from Cook County and other agencies, so we can prepare properly to respond to the event. Certainly, I know it would be difficult for them to find me if I'm steering a boat like we were doing, but you have to be there and available to make some certainly important decisions that are going on.
I think your police instincts kicked in that day.
I was at a luxury that day. I have to be honest with you. On my board, there's a firefighter from Franklin Park, Nick Stecker. And when Nikki got there, and certainly I was there in the wee hours of the morning, and with the police chief and fire chief, we were able to put together certainly the disaster plan that Westchester had on the books, and certainly like any plan, it's a guide, and you have to react and make some changes as the event is flowing. So
it's funny that you mention it, because it's very important that every town in Cook County has an emergency operation plan. And that plan there would have all the annexes for every emergency that possibly can or will occur in the town. You have to remember, you have to think of man-made and natural disasters, and that's very important. And I believe we presented your town with the plaque certifying your town with having an emergency operation plan, so we commend you for that. And again, it's important for every town to have an emergency management so that one can prepare and start coordinating resources, because you don't want too many hands, making decisions. It should be one person who understands the system, and Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, but everybody else will follow under that command structure.
It's interesting, we talk about this today because it's National Preparedness Month. And when you talk about the emergency operation plan for the villages and towns and the counties, we're obviously coming in as those resources are overwhelmed. But it really goes back to even the individuals and the families to have a plan. And to be able to survive and work through those initial couple days on your own without those resources. I mean, the towns and villages are there to help and provide, but you really have to look after yourselves too. And National Preparedness Month really emphasizes those facts as we go through September.
And the plan should also consist of what if one has a power outage? If it's several days, you want to have canned goods, you don't want to have bottled water, right, candles, batteries, and radio, portable radio, so to know what's going on in the outside world. Keep informed.
It's funny because this hit pretty hard the village of Westchester, and it's not just a Westchester thing. It's everybody. So when I say Westchester, I'm not slighting anybody. It's all across the board of all my communities and the mayors that I've met in my 14 months in office. So I wasn't sure that this was going to be something that I would be doing in that short a time, but we're here and we have the ball. I did go to FEMA headquarters on August 2nd, which there was no declaration other than me and the county at that point in time, and Governor Quinn did mention that he was preparing to make the declaration of declaring an emergency, but certainly the paperwork process has to go in before the presidential declaration. And I have to say I met with somebody from the Obama administration, and also FEMA officials, Larry Vigil, which is probably a name that you know, and his compadres at FEMA headquarters, and they were very receptive to me, even pre-declaration. So I'm hoping I was laying the groundwork for, I think it's coming your way, guys, so I'm giving you a heads up now, which is always nice to do in a disaster. But I know, Greg, you've been out here now on the FEMA end of it, and I'd like to give you some time to share what's been going on the FEMA end, and I guess how we did as a whole in our collection and the process and where it is today.
Yesterday was 2 weeks since the declaration, and it's an interesting process because as the federal coordinating officer, I come in post-declaration. I'm named in the declaration and build our team, and it's a terrific job, and it's a very fun part of what I do. Is right now we're just about 300 people that we've brought in to support the 7 counties that were declared in the presidential declaration. And it's funny, as all these people come in from all over the country. Puerto Rico is being one of the furthest places, and I guess Washington State. But we all come in as individuals, and it's my job to put together this team, both internally within FEMA, but then also the partnerships that are so crucial that you've seen going through, especially in Westchester. We have a disaster recovery center there, and that just doesn't happen. It's a partnership with the village of Westchester, with Cook County, and David Ramos and I have we've done, our partnership I think is really a key to this success. And you look at where we are today. Again, day 15, we've had over 50,000 registrants. Yesterday alone, we had almost nearly 5,000, and people are understanding that they need to register. And through the preliminary damage assessment phase, talking to village officials in the county, that doesn't count. To register with FEMA, you really need to go through the 800 line, 800-621-FEMA, or the website www.disasterassistance.gov, or you can visit the DRC anywhere, or the one in Westchester as well. There's 4, soon to be a 5th.
So that preliminary damage assessment that we did early on was, in my estimation, just to get a count of affected homes and the
That's correct.
That information
how
was
far
used
that
for Cook
how far
County.
that it went.
Yeah, it actually rolls up to Cook County, and then that rolls up to the state, and those numbers proceed forth. And that's what those numbers are for, is to get to the declaration. So through FEMA, Department of Homeland Security, and the White House, the president can make a decision based on how affected were those counties within the state of Illinois. Obviously, you felt it, but the president is looking at the overall aspect of how is the state impacted, and are the state resources really overwhelmed to where the federal government should come in? Because obviously it rains everywhere all over the country.